There's this thing that is called a midlife crisis. Yeah, did any of you encounter it, or were you branded as someone who was experiencing midlife crisis?
I don't think I don't know that women go through a midlife crisis. Maybe they do. It's more associated with men. But I think there was just this whole sense of the introspection, which is, who am I when I'm not Mama so-and-so? Because so-and-so has grown up, and so-and-so is not wanting to spend time with you. You know, that's the time you have teenage children, and they're having their own lives, and they're creating their own identities separate from you. Who am I when I'm not Mama so-and-so? Who am I when I can see my career in a certain organization? I'm being told, by the way, retirement, you can be given early retirement, you can be removed. Who am I when I don't have the job title? Those are kind of the things that were going on internally. And yet I felt so strong. I felt so vital. I felt like I still have so much more to give. In fact, I have more to give now because I've got more time than I had in my 20s and my 30s. We used to call the 30s, as she said, the punda years. Those are the donkey years. Like, you're really just working and struggling, And now I got into this space. I was a new business. I'd just gotten the True Love franchise. When I turned 40, it was amazing. It was unbelievable. The world was opening up for me in a very new way, But I needed to go internally and to ask myself all those questions. Who am I when I'm not this and I'm not that? How do I define myself if my business is not there? When my children leave home, how do I define myself? What kind of relationships do I want going forward? Do I have everything I need? That's the other thing. I mean, when Rose talks about the money, the finances, do I have the finances to live the kind of life I want to live? Because life is not ending. It's only beginning, So it wasn't a midlife crisis. It was liberation. It was like,
midlife liberation.
Thank God.
Yeah. You just got rebranded.
Yes.
So, actually, did you experience any sort of midlife crisis, quote unquote? Because I'm told it's different things to different people. To some, they buy the car of their dreams. Others start traveling. Others live. Others separate from their, relationships. Did you experience such a thing?
No, but I think for me, the biggest thing was that you almost discover your superpower. There are things that society tells you, oh, you shouldn't do. Yeah. So I worked in a very corporate environment, and so you kind of had to be, like, you couldn't just laugh and toss your head and laugh at the top with all your lungs as loudly as you can, because that's what came. Yeah. You carried yourself in a certain way, and you kind of controlled yourself. I feel like sometimes you even contained yourself, Yeah. And for me, it was almost finding that some of the things that could have been classified as you shouldn't do or you shouldn't be like that was suddenly the things that I realized were our biggest strengths. So for me, it was almost discovering my biggest strengths and discovering that some of those strengths were actually my superpower. So like, I'm a very passionate, expressive person. And I throw myself into stuff. And I realized this whole passion that I had that somehow helps people come on board with things, that's something it's a strength. And expressing myself in a very authentic way, being real, keeping it real, even if you're being vulnerable, that was a strength because it enables people to relate with you and at a very personal level. And so people open up, and so people are willing to share, people are willing to do stuff. So I started to discover at that age, I wouldn't call it midlife crisis, probably a midlife gift, the gift of knowledge, the gift of understanding, the gift of almost wisdom and understanding of who you are. And so for me, that was really a big click, a big turning point, was really just understanding what my strengths were, and that what society might have deemed as weaknesses were actually my strengths, and that I could play to those strengths in this next season of my life.